Well, welcome to our Hatchery Live. I'm Jose Leal with my partner Matt Perez. And today we have with us Ana Medonça, that Chief Happiness Officer to the world, or at least to Portugal and Europe and all the things that you're doing there.
Yeah,
Welcome, Ana.
thanks.
It's really nice to
It's a
have you.
pleasure to be here.
So, we've had you and I have had a chance to talk a couple of times, a few times. Were you at the Radical Purpose thing this morning? Did you make that?
Oh, I didn't. Sorry. I
Okay,
will
but
try to see
you've
it.
made it
Yeah,
before.
I missed
Uh,
it. Yes.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that either. It was 4 o'clock in the morning local time here. That was put on by our ambassadors from Brazil. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Anna. What brought you here? We want to talk to you about happiness at work,
hmm
and
Okay.
something made you worry about happiness at work. So tell us how you got here.
Okay, first of all, thanks for the invitation, especially someone from Portugal, far, far away from where you are. Well, happiness is something I always worked in human resources department in big companies, multinational companies. And happiness was always something that I was worried with because when we have people, we have different needs and I think that with a smile and being happy, we can achieve better results. And even I think this is the path. Of course, when we join companies, even the ones I worked with, sometimes our worries as HR was not with the happiness, but managing the daily things of HR. Here in Portugal, especially, we have a lot of things to work with, papers and a lot of things that is not managing specifically the person, but all the bureaucracy and things around people.
You stole my
Uh,
word. I was thinking that word exactly as you were
yeah.
describing that.
And sometimes we need to be aware that if we are in this human resources department, now we are switching to HR business partner, people departments, we are changing the name so employees can see us in a different way. But I started work 22 years ago when we were really human resources, and also the name human resources were a little bit like we are a resource like number, and having all these things to run, I was really worried to be quite close to the people because in the end we need to have people engaged, we need to have people happy in the way of not having everyone happy, because happiness is something really difficult to measure. And in the last years, I just did a chief happiness officer training to see what we need to learn to manage happiness. But I'm thinking so in the last years around these, and more, what I think that we try to solve in companies is not the happiness, but having our employees well in terms of health and in terms of all the things that we can give them, and then if they are happy or not, because happiness is also what you have in your personal life and things that we cannot manage. And therefore my last years, it was around looking at this equation. I also had a burnout in the middle of my career, which was really important for me because I realized that we just understand happiness after we have an unhappy moment. Okay. And I think this is exactly what we need to understand. We just smile because we already know when we were so not so happy and we cried, and it's like seeing the balance between the emotions. And this is what I've been doing in the last years, but mainly being there, present for people and understand people. And
So,
this is
so if I may ask a question, so you mentioned feelings, and you think feelings are important. You picked on one particular feeling, happiness. Um, do you see that as the problem, that people aren't happy enough, or is there something else? What is the problem as you see it?
I think that more and more we are starting to talk about mental health, which was a subject that for several years we never talked about. I was used to be in companies where we heard, like, if you have problems, leave them outside the door. And of course, after several years listening things like that, you tend to pretend that you are okay, even you are not. And now more and more people, and very important people, are coming across and saying, I had an issue with my mental health, this happens, and we need to be aware. And I think that when you start to bring these things to the companies, because before, some years ago, if you went to talk with managers about happiness, what they would ask you is, how can we measure happiness? What will be the KPI, or what we can have in terms of return on investment if we do something for people to be happier? Because to be happy, you need to ask them, are you happy? And then you never know what will be the answer. And therefore, I think for several years, we from HR were not talking about happiness. So the business will look at us like, okay, they work in HR, they are worried with HR, but also with the business. If we start like talking about happiness, I always had the strange feeling that if you go there to talk about things like that, they will look at you like, oh, she's talking about things that are not healthy for the business and things like that. And that's why, even because I'm always smiling, this is something that I have, and I don't know if you see it, but I had this blessing of having these, I don't know how to say it in English.
Dimples.
Exactly.
Dimple.
Here in Portugal, we call it covinhas. And I'm always smiling. It's something that it's quite common in me. And sometimes I thought about it, because if you smile a lot, I thought, well, maybe they will look at me like the silly girl that it's always smiling. Perhaps they will not think that I'm professional. You know, we have a lot of internal discussions. And I think with maturity and having more, with life going, now I'm not so worried. I go there, I show what are my beliefs, and I really already had the chance to show the difference between arriving to a company, being kind, smile. Of course, it's not smiling like a crazy person, but it's the difference between being like with a closed face or being nice. Smile. And if you receive someone with a smile, uh, you will try to smile also. At least you will give me the answer to my smile with a smile. And this is what I've been doing in the last years in the human resources department. Now, as a consultant and doing transformations, I think this is really important. I had the opportunity to do a transformation here in Portugal, from a traditional company to a self-management company, where you take out the leaders out of from the equation. And of course,
Anna, I'm going to interrupt you because I want to get back to the
okay.
happy. I like what Sandra said. Yeah, as you see it on our screen there, that
Yeah.
20% more productive. I think that's true. The happier, the better we feel.
Yeah.
Happier being one of the feelings. The better we feel, the more we are able to do our work and connect with our colleagues and
Mm-hmm.
collaborate and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness isn't just about people are happy. It's just a nice
No,
thing.
no.
Happiness is, and all of our feelings are about real things that are happening to us. So when you talk about making people happy, you're really talking about, if I understand this correctly, you're talking about giving people a place to be themselves
Exactly.
and to show where they're at to their colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
instead of putting the fake face of, well, I don't feel good, but I'm okay. It's all right. Yeah, this is business and this is what I do.
No.
Um, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. No, I think that what I was saying about the smile is that if you do it, it's simple for the other person to be more open to you. If I'm not happy, I'm the first one to say I'm not, because of course you need to be honest. And I think that if you smile without feeling the mood, you can see it. When I talk about happiness, is to have a company with a happiness environment, is doing everything and manage all the things, thinking on the people. Okay. Also considering that they will not be all happy, and this is okay. Okay, because we cannot only work things like we started to listen in companies, like having a lot of parties and a lot of things that you listen about ways of doing engagement things, but is being there present for the good and for the less good, and understand. And when you decide to do anything to your company, decide it looking at your people, not what you read from other places that worked well, but listen to your people. And every time that everyone speaks with you loudly and say I'm not happy because this and that, or not being loudly, but you see, the environment, talking around the corners, and you can go there and ask. And if you don't have the perception how your people feels, go and ask and invite them to come to your team and say, we want you to be happy. Our investment, it's better to be investing things that will be a pleasure for you to come and to be in our company, and this is our target. And as I said in the beginning, happiness, it's quite an individual thing. If I ask you, Jose, do you want to be happy, your answer will be yes. And if I ask you what makes you happy, you can say so many things and different things from Matt and from myself, that then I need to manage. Okay, for people to be happy, I need to have like an umbrella. We will be cooperative, honest, in the good and in the less good, and we will work so everyone will feel comfortable. But in the end, you will be also unhappy, because human being is like that. It's the equation. I don't go to a company and start smiling and say, well, now we all are happy, okay, because we are all smiling. No, it's not smiling. It's not like that. Smiling is just a consequences of you being happy,
In a good place.
and also a way of you to be kind, okay, to be more pleasant to receive someone. If I'm a little bit more smiley, you will come to me. If I'm not, you will like, okay,
Pull
I will
back.
not go.
So is it fair, Matt and I, in the book that we co-wrote, which is right there, I can never point properly. It's we talk about transparency,
Mm-hmm.
and transparency to us means not only being transparent about the work that I'm doing, sharing information about the work that I'm doing, but also being transparent about who I am and where I'm at. Being able to say, I'm not happy about this, or I am happy about this, and this is great. And being transparent about others as well. In other words, you did a great thing. I appreciate what you've just done. Does that correlate? Does that match with the way you see things and the way that you've been working?
Exactly. As I was saying, when I did this transformation to self-management, that's why I was talking about it. When you take out from the companies, the leaders, and you have this co-creation, a corporation, one of the things that I learned is that the trigger is the information. If you give information to all your employees, everyone can take decisions, and with this, it's simple for people to be more transparent and also to be confident in taking decisions. And also one of the other thing I saw is the ego. I think the ego, and I think all of us, we have egos, okay? And we need to manage it in a way that you can say, I'm not okay, even I'm a manager. I'm afraid, even I'm a manager, and also as an employee. We need to understand that as a human being, we can have also things like being afraid, more nervous. I don't know how to manage with this situation. I need some help, and this is okay, and it's great, because in this process you bring other people from your team to learn to manage new things. Okay, and I think this is really what we need to manage. Other thing that I think we are not working so well, at least here in Portugal, is with the education. We are not teaching our young people how to manage their feelings when they go and arrive to a company. And I think this is something that we need to change. I think the young people are changing this thing that we hear about the millennials, and they are bringing so much difference to the world. But in the end, if you look what they are asking for, it's something that we also wanted in our time. The question is that we thought, I need to be here. Even I need to work until 11 o'clock, because then they will see I work and it's really great and things like that. But in the end, we would like to have life-work balance. We would like to have it, but all of us, if you looked at your right or your left, everyone was doing this. Now they are together, the millennial, and they say, you pay me less and I want to live my life. And they want to see the world, which is great, because they travel a lot. And these also bring a more open mind and open eyes. You know, you see.
I want to ask a question or make a comment. So everything you said is music to my ears. Okay, we need to have people in an environment where they can be transparent, which the other word for it is vulnerable. But when you're vulnerable, and this from many years in corporate world and stuff like that, is you open yourself to harm from other folks. And sometimes it's your peers, sometimes your reports, and so my thesis and our thesis in the book is that that hierarchy that people assume is inviolate, you can't mess with it, is the source of a lot of the problems. Okay. So when I'm asked the question of, what do you think is the problem? It's, well, the fiat hierarchy is the first problem. Get rid of that and modify it so that it works for all of us. And And then people will be more vulnerable, let their feelings out because it's no harm coming to them. Do you think that'll work, or do you think that's pie in the sky bullshit?
Well, I don't know if I understood well your question, but I think that if we all bring our emotion and we can be more vulnerable, we work the feelings. No one likes to receive a bad feedback, okay? Because every time we do our work, we try to do our best. And of course, the first feedback or what I see when I'm looking at you, it's not so good, and the other will perceive it in a bad way. But this is something that you need to practice. Giving honest feedback, saying to the others your feelings. I think this is the way to create a culture of respect, and more than respect, we need to be aware that companies, of course, are numbers, are people, and of course, if I leave a company, they will hire someone, and life is like that. But if you have the right person working with you, you don't want to have that person in less than 100%. You want that person to be fulfilled and to be working with full information, and for that you need to give the information, you give to give all the things so everyone can fulfill their work. And I don't know if this answer your question, because I didn't understand quite well the question, but
Maybe I can translate it, Ana.
yeah, translate it to me, please.
What I think, to be more direct than what Matt was saying, we believe that part of what needs to change is that we need to change the hierarchy. That
Yeah.
when the hierarchy is there, it is very difficult for us to change how we see being vulnerable. It's difficult to be vulnerable when you have a boss that is expecting you to compete with your other
Yeah.
employees. It's difficult to compete because you want that boss's job, so you don't want to show that you're weak. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so we believe
Good translation.
good translation.
He's a good translator.
And I didn't even have to go to Portuguese to do that. That was pretty good. So does that make sense to you that we're going to be able to really get people to be fully transparent and fully vulnerable when the system of structure is really the limiting factor?
Yeah. Well, I'm a believer, first of all, and I believe. I think that to do that, you need to show them the way of being a good boss. As you said, the word boss. I don't like the word boss. Boss is something that is bossy, but I think that you need to give that boss the feeling of being a good leader. Being inspiring others, seeing their team growing. Not the question of if my team shine, I need to tell that they are shining because of me and things like that. But I think this is something that you need to work with them, okay, and give them the chance to see the difference. And for that, you need to show them. Okay, it's a process where you need to be right next to the managers. I already did that. I had a boss in my previous companies and life, the ones that were really, well, bad leaders, if I can say it. And even you try to teach them or give them trainings, they were really Well, not a leader. They were like individual contributors. They didn't understood why I need to have my team. Wow, I don't care if he's happy or not, or I don't care if he's not working. The results are bad. Please fire him or her. And this was my life, and you need to start talking about these things even in the beginning is hard, because they look at you and say, oh, now it comes human resources with this kind of stuff. But this is changing, and as I told you, the name of this conversation is, I want to be a bee like someone that brings some new ways of looking at things, and giving the chance to people to see the difference. If you do in this way, you will see these results. Look what you did. And sometimes you need to do this process, because in the real life, you don't stop to think. Okay, you do it. You need to have results, and you go, and if they are happy, okay. If they are not, move on. And sometimes you need to bring them to whatever you decide, to a room or to a place, and say, see what you did. It was amazing. The simple change of this simple thing changed so much. Look. And you need to do that. You need to have people in companies that do this, that teach people to be happy with this transformation, be happy with their role, and also be happy. And a lot of things that I write in LinkedIn is things like, if you are a good leader, you start to spread the good feelings to your employees. If they grow to be a leader, they will be a good leader because of you, and therefore you will be a great leader, not only because you manage your team in a good way, but also because you are giving a culture to the future leaders. And I think this is something that we need to be prepared to be there and tell them. Now you need to tell, because no one at school tells young people that you need to be a good leader, and to be a good leader you need to share information, because we know that information is power. The question of the great leaders, they are great, not because sometimes they are really good leaders, but because they have the power of information. And if they know the information and you don't, they can be so bad as they want, but they have the information that you don't. Therefore, you cannot decide. They will be the in the end the person that will decide. And this is something that we need to change. In these self-management companies, what you do is you take the power by giving the information, and the information is free for all, and each of the employees can use it in their simple work, because each person in the company have a specific role for the top of the company, to the purpose of the company. And of course, if you know why you are doing this task, or why I'm doing this, so then I give it to the other department, and so on, you can start looking at your role and say, oh, I can change this, because then we can be more agile, because I know what is the final purpose. And therefore, the answer for a happiness company and people to be more happy is give information, take the power. The power is the thing that give you the straight, and if you are not a good person with power and information, it can be a hell. But we are in the middle of the process. We are the ones that need to be, fighting for saying it's good to be happy. It's good to say that I don't give a damn and I want to change my life. COVID show us that we will all die. I think that we all know that we will die, but we never think about it. And COVID brought something to us, that we all will die one day, and it can be tomorrow. And if it will be tomorrow, I need to change my life, because I need to have a happier life. That's why you have the Great Resignation. is because people realized the simple thing of life is 2 days and one already passed. And I think we are in the process. I'm really happy to be right now in this moment, because I really feel it that it's a process. I don't know if I will see it like in a constant way, but I'm working with startups, and I already see leaders to be really good leaders, really keen to understand people and to ask their opinions, and this is something that I really believe. But in this process, you need to be there saying, look, you did it. Look how it's so good to be doing what you are doing and see the difference. And you need to be
Okay,
there
Anna,
showing.
I need to
We're
jump in
running out
because
of time.
we're out of time, and we want to thank you for your time and your enthusiasm and your happiness.
Yeah.
And announce that next week we're going to have Christine Imra, global executive coach and mentor at Quantum Wins. Now it says here for purpose-driven founders, CEOs, and change makers. I don't know what that means, but she'll tell us. And but thank you for your time and
Thank you.
and all the energy that you put into this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for connecting those two things, because I think sometimes we talk about the practical side of reorganizing organizations, and talking about the people side, the human side, and putting a
Right.
face to that is a really important part of that equation. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in Lisbon.
Yeah, in May. I'm waiting for you, Jose.
Ciao.
Okay, bye.